Day 15, how's everyone doing? I hope everyone's easing into their week nicely. I know I certainly am. I probably have had the best day yet. I think this is it, the best one so far at the clinic. And I'm excited to share a few things. So I met with 3 of my doctors today, my oncologist, my functional medicine doctor, a general doctor, asked them all individually several questions. But I was really confused about the functioning of my liver enzymes. When I was first diagnosed, all of that was out of control. They were so worried about the state of my liver and how poorly it was functioning. And now when you look at my blood work, as they told me on my first day, it looks like I have the liver of a 20-year-old. But I still have these very large tumors or lesions on my liver. So I don't understand, how is this working? So they explained it that in the beginning, because I didn't know I was sick, I obviously wasn't doing treatment, and so my cancer was just going rampant. It was out of control, and that's why everything was elevated. And then after 9 months of treatment, they've gotten the disease in control, and my body's functioning very, very well. And I think that's why that I feel so good most of the time, unless I'm on chemo, and it's because they've gotten everything under control and it's being managed. Now, if I quit doing everything right now, then it would go back to that original state, and it would be bad. And so, but they explained though that even with that being the case, that because my disease is so well controlled right now, that it's a great opportunity for me to take advantage of everything that I've been doing. And they really believed that with what I'm doing here with immunotherapy and the dendritic cell vaccines, that paired with what I'll be doing when I go home with the targeted radiation, the Y90, that could be the thing that either is a cure or creates a situation for me where I can live with a very manageable disease for a very long time. And so that was just the best news ever. No one's really said that to me. No one's really talked about so many different options and how the outlook is actually very, very positive. So I was so thankful for that. And then they also said that because I was otherwise healthy when this all happened, that's given me the strength and ability to fight the way that I have, and why my body has been able to handle the treatments as well as it has. So I feel very proud of that. Like I admitted in previous vlogs that, I haven't always done it perfectly, consistently, or, I've flip-flopped back and forth on what I even believe is the right way to do it. But I do feel that I've always made health a priority, and I do think that that's why I've been able to fight the way I have. So I encourage everyone to think about that and to get healthy in any way you can. I mean, I think we're all going to be hit, we'll all be hit with something at some point. And the healthier that we are to begin with, then the stronger place we'll be in to fight. So anyway, just some ideas there. But all of what happened today kind of added to what I had been thinking about for one of my Holly thoughts. So it all centers around hope, and today gave me some hope, and it made me think about a story I wanted to tell. And last week I shared the story of my diagnosis, and I thought today I would talk a little bit about my prognosis and the story behind that. So my mom and I traveled to Houston in the beginning every 2 weeks for chemo, but it started on July 23rd, and we went to MD Anderson for my very first appointment to learn my prognosis. And July 23rd is a significant date for me, and it's not a positive thing at all. I don't understand it, but on July 23rd, 2018, my dear friend that I've talked so much about died by suicide. And then exactly a year later, July 23rd, 2019, my divorce was final. And then July 23rd, 2020, I received the prognosis for this disease I have. And I have no idea what the significance of that date is, but I'll tell you all right now. This year, July 23rd, 2021, I'm gonna throw like a huge party. Everyone's invited, so mark your calendars. Seriously, I'm gonna turn that date around because I do not know why for the last 3 July 23rds I've had so much to deal with, but it's turning around this year, and I know that in the bottom of my heart, so good news there. But when I went to get my prognosis at MD Anderson, I went with my mother, as she's been at every appointment with me, and this was my first time though there, and because of COVID they wouldn't let her come in with me. And I want to say something about COVID because it is my job and I've been writing COVID stories for over a year because it's my job professionally to communicate to my little community about COVID mandates and restrictions and all the things, and I believe in it all. I do 100%. But I don't believe in this situation. I don't believe that my mother should have been kept from going to this appointment with me. I mean, we just traveled 5 hours together in a car to go to this hospital. If she had COVID, I mean, I'm obviously exposed. But they wouldn't let her come in. But they told her like, okay, well, you can go to this little room and sit with the other companions and you can call and listen to what the doctor says. So, okay, we'll do that. So it takes forever, and finally my doctor comes in and my mom's on the phone, and this woman comes and is like, I'm sorry, Miss Powers, you're gonna have to leave. You've been in the companion room for the extent of time you're allowed to be in there. You've got to go outside. And so they kicked my mom out of the room and she had to go. Okay, this is July 23rd. In Houston, Texas, okay, it is like 100 degrees, 100% humidity, and they send her outside just as my doctor is coming into the room to tell me what my future is. So there my mom is sitting on some bench in the hot blazing sun trying to listen to this awful story that he's telling. Anyway, it just did not have to be that way. It did not, hands down, have to be that way. But he comes in, he, of course, as he should be, has his mask on, and all I can see really are his eyes, and that's how it had to be. And I'm not saying it should have been any different, but it was very awkward and intimidating to meet my oncologist for the first time in person and to hear this news he was telling me in this fashion. But he just said it. He just said it in the kind of most emotionless delivery, and just kind of said, you've got late stage cancer. There is no hope for a cure. We're not trying for a cure for you. We are going to try to extend some of your life, but this is a very late stage, and what we'll do for you is give you chemo every 2 weeks until it quits working. And that was it. And I was just like, until it quits working, well, then what, And then he's like, well, then, you probably have like 3 years or less. And so that's what we've got for you. And I'm going to have the pharmacist come in now and talk to you about what to expect with chemo. We'll see you on Tuesday. And then he's out. I mean, that was it. And I just froze, drew a blank. I was like, I had all these questions in my mind and I had no idea. I mean, they all just vanished. And the pharmacist came in, she sat down, she gave me a list like this of all the side effects that I should expect. She had all these different things I was supposed to pick up from the pharmacy, like anti-nausea stuff, and they had all these different directions, and she's all spewing all that out and be sure you don't take this one with this one. And I'm like, I was just told I have less than 3 years left to live and there's no hope for me. And here I am listening to what I'm going to be doing on Tuesday. I'm going to go to the pharmacy. I mean, it was so overwhelming. And so she finishes and then she's like, okay, now you've got to go get the scan and she kind of pointed me in a direction. And I just remember, like, I'm in MD Anderson, it's huge. And it took me forever to find where I was supposed to go. And then I finally get to the most gigantic lobby I've ever seen in a clinic. And there's nobody in there. It was so weird. And I just sat in this chair by myself, and I had my mask on. And I just remember crying, you know, like bawling behind my mask. And I was like, why am I by myself? You know, like even if my mom couldn't be with me, they should have had a patient advocate, a social worker, like somebody with all the money that MD Anderson makes, all the cancer industry makes off of patients like me. They should have someone. They should have somebody with you when you're getting this news. And really, it should have been my mom, but didn't happen that way. But anyway, I met with my oncologist that one day, and he gave me that grim delivery of what was lined out for me in my future. And then I didn't see him again for 3 months. So that entire 3 month time, you know, of course, because it's me, like I'm like stubborn and I'm not taking that as the answer, but it was still just so hard. And the fact that he didn't give me one tiny bit of hope, you know, I carried that for the next 3 months, and it was so unnecessary in my mind. Like it could have been done differently. And so, you know, throughout this entire time, I've been so blessed by people, just sharing everything possible with me to make a difference. And my good friend Tracy shared an author and who's a medical doctor with me. His name is Bernie Siegel, and I will share a screenshot of his books, one of his books. But he started practicing in the 70s, and even back then, he hated the medical model with patient and doctor relationship and how it was taught in medical school, and then how it was played out with insurance companies and the whole thing. And he hated it so much that he almost quit practicing. He decided he was either going to become a teacher or a veterinarian. And then he was like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to change the way I practice. And so he started with his little office, and it has since blossomed, 40 years later, into something incredible. And he's written all of these books that I would encourage everyone to get a hold of, because it's just so many stories about hope and about how important that little bit of, difference that you can make for somebody. And it doesn't have to be about cancer, it could be about anything, and what a difference that makes for people. But he talks, he shares, I don't know how many different true, stories about cancer patients that he's worked with. But the resounding theme behind all of it is that no matter what, there's always hope. Always hope. And I have said, since my experience with MD Anderson and the way that the delivery of my prognosis was given, that I would rather be given false hope all day long. I will take that over no hope, because at least you have something to work with. And I can't tell you what that would have meant to me, in those early days, or even further into it. Like if I just had someone who believed in me, that was a medical professional. I have amazing family and friends and everybody cheering me on, and it means the world to me. But to hear from a medical professional that is trained, that you're looking to for guidance, that they believe in you, it goes a million miles, And so Bernie Siegel, he said it even better. He said, the only false hope is no hope. And I just think that is so profound and just so important to think about, with everything that we face, because I don't care how dire a situation is. There is always hope. There is always something. There's always another possibility. And he said that he would sit with all of his patients, and they could have hours to live or days to live or whatever, and he would sit next to them and hold their hand, and he would talk to them about hope. Whatever hope that he could drum up, he would share that. And he just he talked about also, another thing that he noticed. He worked with a lot of hospice people that were in hospice, and he said it was interesting to him that we wait until the very, very end to create this loving environment where you're bringing in all of this care and the family and you're making them so comfortable, and you're talking about all the wonderful things about their life. And he talked about how often he would see patients shift at that moment once they got into hospice, because all of a sudden they were getting the care that they should have been getting in the beginning, you know? And so oftentimes, I should say, he explained that then their entire prognosis would shift, and they would come out of hospice and they would live another year or another 2 years or another whatever. And it was all because of that shift in care. So it's very, very interesting stuff. And just the way that a switch in perspective, you know, a difference in someone's mindset and a belief in yourself. Like, if you believe you can do something, if you really have it in your head, you can. I mean, you can, right? And so I just think it's so important. I can't even say it enough that that's what I've learned. The biggest thing I've learned through this cancer journey is we all deserve hope, and we all deserve for someone to believe in us. And so I hope you all believe in you, because we're all amazing people, and we deserve that. We deserve to look forward to a bright and healthy, happy future. So anyway, that's my Holly thought for the day. Always have hope, and thank you so much for being here. I'll be here the rest of the week until I leave on Saturday. So, you know, I'm gonna get more and more into some intense treatment this week, so we'll see how that goes. But I will be keeping you informed. So thanks again for watching. Talk soon.